Hello and welcome to this video on D&D and Dungeon Crawl Classics. We're looking at deities or gods. So here we have Dave, the almighty and powerful Dave. He's a character slash god that I created for Dungeon Crawl Classic campaign a while back. It was a lot of fun, a lot of interesting stuff going on with this character. So we're going to dive right in, go through a little bit of his background. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but essentially, Dave's a wandering traveler. He was blessed by a knight. He left his main village years ago because everyone was not very nice, and he went to go and find people that he could connect with. So he's constantly going around, traveling around. He's had a very rough life, we could say, and has always moved past his fears. So that's kind of the main thing. So if you're a follower of Dave, you experience fear on a regular basis. So this brings us to Dave's table of phobias. So there's 100 of these. I like rolling on random charts, so there's 100 of these that you can, one of these you get afflicted by per day. So you got to roll on that. So that makes it pretty interesting for parties and for groupings of people, because again, the character might shy away from certain situations or take another route. So it's a very interesting concept. So besides having this little negative, with Dave, again, he's always looking for people to trust, and he provides them with protection and safety, and he grants them boons. So, what being a follower of Dave's all about, and there are a few memes in here, just warning you. The main thing is he's experienced a lot of, again, challenges throughout his existence, and he tries to better other people through his bolstering of self that he provides to others. So basically a lot of auras. So there's some interesting spells, and there's some interesting little snippets in here as well if you read through it later on. So disapproval with Dave. If you're not following on a righteousness path, he will kind of disappear. So you'll be like, oh, you haven't heard from Dave in a while, and then there's a negative effect, and then you end up getting afflicted by more phobias, that type of thing. So that's kind of the main concept with disapproval with Dave. If you're not following on the righteous path, you're going to be constantly in fear. And then with spells, these are the best part. So Phobic Recession, Comforting Storm, and Daving Danger. These are some great spells. These could definitely be tweaked for a D&D campaign or for Dungeon Crawl Classic. It's all set up here. So, first one, Phobic Recession. Basically, the caster takes all their fears and emits them onto the enemy. So there's a bunch of different things with this. For D&D, you definitely have to edit this out a little, but again, it's a great spell. Next one, Comforting Storm. The caster ends up basically changing their themselves, and then the enemies end up getting hit by this storm. So it's like you're in the eye of the storm. Dave is in the eye of the storm with you, protecting you, and everything else is kind of getting messed about. So it's a very interesting spell. And the pièce de résistance is Daving Danger. So caster calls upon the wisdom of Dave. Dave bestows his followers with information on how to survive dangerous situations. So this is reflected in AC changes and reflex saves going up, and getting advantages on rolls, and then eventually it leads into enemies taking psychic damage. But for the main part, if you go over to the Dungeon Crawl Classic, the strongest part of the spell that you could possibly roll. So Dave brings the caster and his allies to a different plane of existence that is identical to the one that they were previously in, and all individuals brought to this plane of existence are revived. They find themselves with full health, all stat points back to normal. They remember what had previously happened and are out of the way of imminent danger. So again, very powerful spell. Again, you could change this around for D&D, make it maybe a little bit less potent, and be like, oh, you remember what happened. It's like kind of like a time travel thing where you go back to before the dangerous event happened, but you know what already happened. Maybe you don't get all these benefits of stat points and things going back to normal. But anyways, that's Daving Danger. So very fun character and deity to play around with. So for your next D&D or Dungeon Crawl Classic campaign, feel free to use this information, I'll leave this in the comments below, and hopefully you subscribe, like the stuff, and enjoy your next adventure. So till next time, have a good one.